Well, great. Thank you, everybody. It's great to see all these beautiful faces, familiar faces, new faces. My name is Bea Alvarez. I work with Foodshed. It's a local small farm distro. You, I'm sure, have met some of my coworkers before, have been in panels that they have been talking about the work that we do with farmers and the community doing equitable distribution. And I mostly work with farmers and everything that is related to soil health and support of local farms.
Hi, everyone. My name is Daniela Perez. I am Director of Programs in North America and the Pacific at an organization called Women's Earth Alliance. Currently, we are running a regenerative agriculture and health program dedicated to working with women who are on the land and doing land-based initiatives. And I am also a small business owner. I own a small business called Manojo, which means a handful of herbs in Spanish. And I grow and process herbs and spices for home cooks. And so that's my small business and also my movement work. I've been in the food systems for about almost 11 years now, really working alongside farmers and growing food myself and working in a lot of spaces like this, where, we are all confronted with our humanity. And, sometimes we've inherited some ways of working from other systems, the schooling system, punitive systems in our society, capitalism, systems that are very much extractive in terms of their model and how they work with humans. And really, we've seen this happen in a lot of our works where, movement building turns into in some form of extractive labor, and then we reap the consequences of that with unsuccessful collaborations or like difficult circumstances arising. And so we've connected throughout the years on the importance of acknowledging our humanity as movement builders and showing up with whatever is facing us today. And as you know, like all of you today are probably showing up with something. Something is sitting heavy in your heart. Something is in your mind. I woke up today with a migraine, and I was like, "How am I going to show up today?" But that's the truth. I mean, I still kind of have a half a headache as I'm standing here, and I know my colleagues are also in carrying some stuff in their heart as well. So we really through this talk wanted to center the expertise of the room and acknowledge the fact that we're not like the expert movement builders, but we're here to create community with you all and learn from each other. And so that's the purpose of today. And before we get started and go into our smaller group discussions and really start jiving on each other's tools and strategies, I want to allow for us to get just a little bit grounded in our bodies. And so I'm going to invite you all to close your eyes if that feels comfortable, and just get comfortable in your seat, connecting to your breath, coming back slightly to the simple things. If you're feeling tired or sleepy, or if you're feeling, agitated, inspired, energized, like all is welcome. Everything that you are experiencing is welcomed, and there is space. There's no need to rush. There's no need to hurry around it. Your experience as it is right now is perfect. It's absolutely what needs to be here. Your energy, your thoughts, your heart, your experience is welcomed in this space. And you can allow yourself to just connect to your breath for a second. Connect to the sensation of how your body is inhaling right now, and connecting to the sensation on how your body is exhaling right now. There's nothing else to do. There's nowhere else to be. You can just allow yourself to softly be with your breath, connecting to the inhale, connecting to the exhale. You can scan your body, paying attention to maybe the temperature of your feet, paying attention to the temperature of your legs, of your knees, of your hips, maybe the temperature in your front body, the energy of your front body, the energy of your back body, the energy of your chest and your heart, and your shoulders, and your neck, your face, your hair, scanning your whole body, just getting familiar with what is here, what is showing up here with you today. From your feet to your knees, to your front body, to your back body. There's nothing else to do. There's nowhere else to be. You can pay attention to the quality of your thoughts. Maybe you're getting a little distracted or thoughts are coming in. It's okay. Thoughts are welcome. Maybe you can just ask them to go into the background for a little bit so that you can become familiar with your experience in this moment, with how your body is experiencing this moment. Perhaps inviting any places of tension to relax and let go of any contractions you don't need to hold. Let go of any tightness. Perhaps you're noticing some food in your digestive system, in your belly, some delicious food that was grown in a beautiful farm, somewhere local, where the soil was tended with care, and the farmers were paid and treated with respect, and the cooks prepared with love all the ingredients that now you get to share with each other. And perhaps that is here with us too. The food, the soil, the birds, the butterflies, all the people that are working to prepare that food, the energy of that work is here through you, through your body, through your energy. So, when you feel ready, I'm going to invite you to open back your eyes. Take a nice deep inhale and just take a look around the room and see if you notice any differences. Maybe take a look around the other faces in the room and just settle in to a comfortable place where you can kind of look at each other. And because this conversation is very important to us in terms of acknowledging our humanity, I appreciate everybody making space for becoming present. And I know it's been a long day, and some of y'all are probably getting tired, or I mean that's part of our humanity, right? But we will get moving and talking with each other in just a little bit. But before we do that, we want to make sure that there's space for everybody to feel like there's respectful dialogue happening, and that we all are treating each other with care and creating as much of a safe space as possible with each other. So in your agendas, you see that we have some suggestions on how to engage in respectful dialogue with each other. And these suggestions it's a list that is in a book that's called Emergent Strategy by Adrienne Marie Brown. And this list of guidelines is something that she suggests as a potential place for us to kind of settle in on good dialogue. And so I'm just going to read them through real quick for each other so that we're all in agreement with these guidelines. And the first one says, listen from the inside out, or listen from the bottom up. So what that means is that the feelings in your gut matter. Like if you're feeling uncomfortable or something was said that didn't quite sit well, then you're totally allowed to, exit the conversation. You don't have to engage in conflict. You can, ask for space and really listen to your gut. Engage in tension. Don't indulge drama. So what that means for me is that not getting caught up in the emotion of wanting to outcompete somebody's feelings or but just being with each other, attention of like, oh, where's that coming from? Asking clarifying questions, that kind of thing. If you tend to be the person that takes over the conversation, this next one is going to be important for you. It's practicing wait. So why am I talking? Just being conscious if you're one of those people who gets excited and takes over the conversation. This is an invitation to wait. And that leads to making space and taking space. So considering, how, if you're more of an introverted person, are you, making space? Is that the role that you're playing, or do you want to take space? So really leaning into that questioning as we engage in conversation. Be open to learning. Commit to confidentiality. That is really important, right? Like not gossiping about things that you hear here, because, our humanity is sometimes vulnerable to share. Be open to learning. Be open to your worldview shifting. Be open to new mental models being created with your community. That's the juicy stuff. That's the first thing we do when we're little babies. We want to learn, right? And be open to someone else speaking your truth. Like if there's something that you're really aching to share, and then all of a sudden you make space for somebody else and it's exactly what you wanted to say. That's kind of the magic of how we are in community with each other. Build, don't sell. So we want to try not selling each other's ideas and trying to convince other people about our own worldview, but we're trying to build on each other, kind of yes and attitude. Value the process. This is something that we talked about a lot when we were planning this workshop. It's not really about the results or the tools or the strategies, it's the process of how we get to them and the community that we're building. There's probably not a coincidence of who you ended up with in this circle. There's probably a reason why you're all together here, and I'm excited to see that unfold in this process. Assume the best intent and attend to impact. Assume that the people who are in this room are here and care about your humanity. And also, if there was something said that was hurtful or didn't quite land right with you, attend to the way that it impacted you. And of course, practice self-care and community care. If you need to step out, if you need to take a break, if you need to go take a nap, whatever you need, just take care of yourself throughout the conversation. Thank you so much. I would love to hear how any of these guidelines landed for you. If there's anybody that has a comment or a question or an addition to these guidelines, this is an open space. So I can, if there's anyone in particular that you're like, oh, I like this, or I want to add something more. Yeah?
This is just really quick, but I appreciate the take the lessons, leave the details. I think it's easy to get hung up on like specifics and lose the overarching message of things. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you for sharing that. One more person, maybe? Y'all are going to talk to each other, so. Okay, good. Well, these are going to be our guidelines, and so I'm going to pass it on now to Bea to talk a little bit more about what we're going to be talking about today and a little bit of her relationship to today's topic.
Thank you. Can you hear me well? Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Incredible to see familiar faces, everybody here. And I guess that I've been thinking a lot about this topic and why it is important to acknowledge our humanity in times of conflict, turbulence, and in times where we are all like grieving or going through some processes in which we want to build our communities. And I feel that everybody's here today because you care. You care about yourself, your family, your community, and the work that you do is reflecting that care. Today I've been having a very emotional day as my dad, who was very sick for quite a long time, passed away last night in Argentina. And I was faced with like, what do I need in terms of grief? And I need community. So I wanted to be here today to share with vulnerability how, when we are facing with these life-changing situations, what are our needs and how do we express them? And I always come to the conclusion that going back to the village ways, going back to building community, I feel very, very privileged that I have a fabric of support and a community here in San Diego. And this community has shown me how they care for each other. They care for the causes that are, making our elders and children sick. Why what we eat is just like creating like sickness instead of nurturing us. And how we can build networks like mycelium that we can support each other, because we are going through many different things and many different challenges personally, in our work, in our communities, as a country and society, as the global turmoil that we're facing right now. So I feel like it's important to have these spaces where we can like share what tools and strategy do we use to, like keep ourselves centered, keep ourselves showing up for the work that we care about. And what is that we build that even in times that we might feel defeated, we keep showing up? And what is that is bringing us together? So these are kind of the pointers that I wanted to share as we reflect about the things that make us like human, that make us unique, and despite all the different like terrible things that we can do to each other, we can also support each other and build up from there. And again, I feel like we build the resiliency when we have collective healing, when we have collective care, when we can, support each other, from the people that is growing the food that is going to nurturing us, to like how our children and elders are living in these times, how we can create like really support for the many different like sickness that our elders are facing, and our children now too, because of the industrial like food system that is not creating any kind of like nutritious like value to what our kids put in their bodies. So really honoring our ancestry as humans, as agriculture people, as people of the land, as people that can come together to build instead of destroy, and how we can support each other. Yeah. So I wanted to maybe open it up for a couple of people that would like to share what brought you to come over here to have this conversation. We see a lot of people, so there might be a reason why this was resonating with you. Just for sake of time, and we're going to be breaking up into groups soon. Maybe 2 or 3 people that would like to share. Why do you think this topic is important, and why do you think? And I love that we have like circles, having a circle where we can come together.
My name is Ramon Chaides. I think what comes to mind is something that I'm really accepting more recently, more than ever, is that a lot of the work that I'm doing is life work, and that it'll started before me and it'll keep going long after I'm gone. And so I'm just wrestling with that reality that I'll be long gone when some of these things really come to fruition. And also what I do now to make sure that I take care of myself and stay strong or create some kind of sustainability around my spirit as I move forward and accept some of these things that are incredibly heartbreaking at times. So that's what brought me here.
I am here because I think this is the work that we are called to do collectively when it comes to kinship, that the work is of relationships, the work is of love and leaving a legacy of hope, and that as the land stewards us, we are also called to remember that this work cannot happen without care for ourselves. And everything about late-stage capitalism, a colonial capitalist system that is invested in genocide and extraction, tells us that our dignity and our care is not a priority. So we create systems that are alternatives to the mainstream. And I have to keep remembering that capitalism is so new compared to the legacies of community systems around the world. So I was so deeply humbled when I saw this as an offering today, and I feel so seen that this is why I do the work and that you all created a space for us to be here. So thank you.
Thank you for your courage to speak up, all of those. As we go into this work, I want us to take a moment to find that courage within ourselves. And oftentimes, it's helpful if we have someone alongside us. So I'm asking all of you to take a few moments and think of somebody here or past in your life that really has supported and guided you in a difficult time. Hold their name in your head. Bring it to your heart, down into your belly. And we're going to speak their name out loud together. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mel. Let's welcome our ancestors and our friends and our helpers here into this room to help guide us on this little journey that we're about to take. Yeah. This feels really wonderful, by the way. I just have to say, it's so cool to see this room packed. There was like 3 people in here at 3 o'clock, and we're like, oh, time to move some chairs around. I guess no one's coming. But no, you just found the strawberries. That's what happened. They're delicious. Thank you, Opie Peoples. And you know what's fascinating in life? In my biodynamic practices, we spin the preparations in one direction, and we kind of get in a nice group, and we're all really comfy here in our spots. And then all of a sudden it's time to get up and move, and we're all going into chaos, and you spin the other direction in the biodynamic world. And we kind of go and participate in this flow of moving from chaos and into calm, steady rhythm, back into chaos and calm and steady rhythm. And we're about to embark on a little bit of controlled chaos here as we move into some groups. We have these group names around the room. They're also on the back sheet of your paper. Killer turnout, so if there's not enough papers to go around, please be nice to your neighbor and let them see. There are so many topics that we can choose from, and our mind may want to take over right now and be like, which one's the best one? Where should I be? I don't know. Should I be here? Should I be there? Let's check in deeper in ourselves, because we know, parts of us know which group we should be in. And so go ahead and try and lock that number in your head now. You got a little bit extra time too. When we land in our small groups, your sheet is going to guide you through that, but I'm also going to be right here alongside you, emceeing to help navigate. The first 10 minutes, we're just going to get to know each other. We have a nice icebreaker and go around, keep it light, and, who wants to be a little note taker that can help record on your pieces of paper? You can take the paper off and bring it over. You can open that up so multiple people are taking notes. And we'll also see who wants to kind of be a facilitator. It's going to say, I'm just going to kind of help keep us on those guidelines and that we discussed. And I want to take that role as like, I'm going to help facilitate this small group. Because when we move into the second part, we're going to take a little moment, introduce ourselves. I'll come back on the mic here and be like, all right, time to talk about the topics. That's where our facilitator is really going to help make sure that everybody in the group is going to get a moment to share, more than a moment. We planned plenty of time to talk because, gosh, when we get in these small groups and we really start talking, it's like the longer we get more and more comfortable, and then more and more sharing and more sweet spot. And so that's really the heart of this session is you all talking.
Yeah, so we wanted to maybe open it up for a couple of groups that would like to share. And maybe this is a sharing of strategies. So it's a sharing of what are the takeaways from each one of the topics, what, like tools you have exchanged and in your conversations that, we saw it was very engaging. Anything that came up for the group that you feel that is like worth like sharing in terms of, for that particular like topic, tools and strategies. Anybody would like to? All right. Group number 1.
All right, thank you. Okay, can you hear me? Excellent. All right, so we are group number 1, overcoming burnout. And if you haven't experienced that yet, you might be lying to yourself or maybe the rest of the group here. We got into a really awesome discussion and we're able to share our stories together, and thank you all for that. But we kind of came across a few things to help in this capacity, and some things to think about when you're feeling burnt out is, first off, remember to take some rest or some time off. Probably haven't in a while. As well as remember the mission, or remember your why. Why are you doing this? I think it's a reason that we get out of bed and do this work that we do. And that came up numerous times in our discussion. Something else that I really want to touch on is being able to be seen and heard. And so being able to have this facilitation and this discussion together was really helpful to be able to go, oh, I'm not alone in this. And we all feel this way at times. Another thing is, if you're trying to do all the things by yourself all the time, all at once, feel free to delegate and trust your teammates and those around you, personally and professionally. And another piece I wanted to connect there is, well, connection and the community as well. And other than that, just remember that we're all in this together. So find someone that can support you in what you're doing. Thanks.
Social and eco-anxiety group. We shared together some feelings of carrying eco-anxiety into other interactions. The intensity of feeling severed from how society is going about things, degenerative policies, feeling that our work is, we're going 3 steps forward and 5 steps backward. But we also shared some hopefulness, showing up and engaging authentically with one another. We're screwed, but trying anyways. Connecting with family and friends, self-care, experiencing nature, gratitude, and specifically, this was a beautiful gratitude for the cycles of chaos, because there's also cycles of calm coming, and inspiring conversations. And a big one was fighting misinformation by revealing truth of traditional cultural knowledge and histories and bearing witness to those.
So our group was innovation in vulnerable leadership. And in order to do that, you have to have a lot of self-awareness in acknowledging that you have power and privilege in that leadership position. It requires a lot of vulnerability, which means letting go, sharing, acknowledging our faults and what hasn't worked for us in the past, giving away our power, so it helps with burnout too, sharing of power, and then that vulnerability leads us to a collaborative exchange and communication with the person we are trying to lead. which then leads us into building a reciprocal trust to provide mentorship. And it's kind of a circle. So it doesn't happen kind of 1 through 5, but it kind of continues to happen and move around in a bit of that, embrace the chaos and kind of acknowledge and have open communication.
Well, thank you, everybody. This has been just an amazing collaborative group, and I feel like this is what we need, more of this, more of like coming together and talk about the topics that are important to us, how we can build more resilience about our relationships, the work that we do, and and caring for ourselves and our loved ones. I always think about, when you go on an airplane, and always tell you when they do the safety, you need to put the oxygen mask on yourself first, and then you can help somebody else. Well, this is the same, like take the deep breath into the belly, and then, like go out and do your work.
I'm going to pass this off to Danny, but she's going to close us with a poem to help take us into the space, and then we'll be ending. And so I just wanted to have that opportunity to really thank you for coming up and showing up here today. Yeah, that's all for you all. Good work. Thank you to the Food System Alliance for putting this event on and trusting us to hold this space. Food System Alliance, yes. And, well, I mean, there's so many more people to thank, so. But, yes, and thank you to my co-presenters. Yeah, so thank you.
I find it interesting that, we only heard from 3 groups, right? But there were some commonalities there. I don't know if you saw, like, the way that we deal with burnout, the way that we deal with grief, the way that we deal with difficult circumstances are those things, sometimes simple strategies, right? Like taking in some sunshine, slowing down, resting. And I'm sure that if we go through and see, we'll probably find some more similarities. So I encourage you all as you leave the room to kind of go and peep at others' conversations and see what similarities, what sort of lessons and, gifts this community today, right here, right now is offering you. And I'd like to close the conversation with a poem. It's called Hurricane by Mary Oliver. And it goes like this. It didn't behave like anything you had ever imagined. The wind tore at the trees. The rain fell for days, slant and hard. The back of the hand to everything. I watched the trees bow when their leaves fall and crawl back into the earth, as though that was that. This one hurricane I lived through. The other one was of a different sort and lasted longer. Then I felt my own leaves giving up and falling, the back of the hand to everything. But listen now to what happened to the actual trees. Towards the end of the summer, they pushed new leaves from their stump limbs. It was the wrong season, yes, but they couldn't stop. They looked like telephone poles and didn't care. And after the leaves came blossoms. For some things, there are no wrong seasons, which is what I dream of for you.